Teenagers of Reddit, what is the biggest current problem you are facing? Adults of Reddit, why is that problem not a big deal? I'm 29, so not a teen, but I want to add perspective. When something bad happens to you when you are young, it is probably one of the worst things that have ever happened to you. When we get older, we gain perspective through experience. I'm 29. I have been divorced, stabbed, lost a parent, and many other things. A breakup still hurts, but I know life goes on. To the teens out there, the people in your life really do love you. You're loved and worth loving. Life is an adventure. Sometimes you strike gold, and sometimes you strike out, but nothing is worse than getting old and not having any stories. I just graduated from college and got a decent job with my business degree, but my problem is, I hate every aspect of 9-to-5 jobs, but financial security is such a luxury that so many people can't afford that. I feel obligated to stay in this job that I hate. It's basically like I went to school for 12 years, which I hated, so I could get this job that takes up most of my week, which I also hate, so that I can hopefully save enough money to retire and be happy when I'm 60. Oh, and also, while you're working a miserable 9-to-5 job, try and be positive enough to find a wife and have a few kids. What the fuck is this stream? I'm just saying, it's not all cracked up to be. It seems like a lot of the concerns are about I have no ambition, I don't know what I want to do in life, or there are no jobs, so fuck it anyway. A friend told me a great way to figure out what you want to do in life. It works best if you really have no clue, because then you are a blank slate. I did it in my freshman year of college. Now I'm 26, have my dream job, and am extremely satisfied with life. All you need is a piece of paper, and Google, I suppose. Think of something that would be really cool to do. It doesn't necessarily have to be something you want to do, but something that would be pretty cool to do. Something like, sail around the world, be the first person on Mars, or win a bodybuilding competition. The loftier and more impossible to achieve, the better. If you can't think of something cool to do, you're lying to yourself. Because at the very least, everyone thinks it would be cool to be Maverick in Top Gun, right? Write that down centered at the top of a sheet of notebook paper. Then, at the bottom, write your name, 2014, and circle it. This is the most time-consuming step. You are going to map as many possible routes as possible to get to that really cool thing. The best way to figure this out is to look up people who have done that really cool thing. Read their wiki or their bio, and figure out how they got to where they are. Figure out their path to doing that really cool thing. Then write it down, step by step, in little bubbles. Connect the bubbles from your name, 2014, to the really cool thing at the top of the page. Eventually, you should have at least 3 possible paths to get to the top of the page. If you don't know what you want to do in life, pick one of those routes. What do you have to lose? If you don't want to pick one, then you have to tell yourself that it actually would not, in fact, be cool to do that thing. And you don't want to do that really cool thing after all, in which case you lied in step 1, and you need to start over. The point is you probably won't ever make it all the way. But that's because, along the route you chose, other doors will open to you that you didn't even know existed. But since it's all along the path to something you think would be cool, those newly opened doors are going to be in line with your interest and you wouldn't know they existed had you not tried for the original lofty goal at the top of the page. When I was a freshman, I wrote astronaut at the top of the page. I now know that I will never be an astronaut, but that's okay because I found something better that I didn't really know was better at the time. My job is essentially to fly around the world and hang out at exotic locations. Occupation: pilot. This friend had a ton of other great life advice that worked out great. If there's an interest, I'll post the other info. Loneliness. I had a decent social life a while ago, talked to a person regularly, and went outside every now and then. Well, I got tired of talking to that one person, so I put myself in a black hole and forgot people existed. The last time I actually hung out with a friend was in April. I talked to no one and guests at home on Reddit all day. Fuck. Also, understanding how life works and how shitty of a place it is, I don't want to grow up. I'd rather sit at home all day on Reddit. Most kids my age doesn't think about the future and life all that often. I can't get it out of my mind. This thread blew up too fast. I'm trying to respond to all the messages, but there are so many lol. Thanks for all the support and advice, guys. I really appreciate it. I got to go for now, guys, but I'll get back on later and answer more messages. Thanks once again. Holy shit, goal. Thanks you so much, kind of stranger. I did not expect this kind of reaction at all. You guys really blew my mind. I'm not sure whether my friends like me at it. Wow, did not expect this to blow up this much. Thank you for all the support. This has been very helpful and made a shitty day really fantastic. Also, thanks to everyone who corrected my spelling. As a teenager, I need to learn these things. And again, thank you. Just in case. Depression hotline, 1-630-482-9696. Suicide hotline, 1-800-784-8433. Lifeline, 1-800-273-8255. Trevor Project, 1-866-488-7386. A U.S. National 24-hour, a toll-free confidential suicide hotline for gay and questioning youth. Military One source, 1-800-342-9647. And if you don't feel comfortable calling any of those numbers, feel free to PM me. I warn you that I am just an ear, not a qualified person to help or anything. Just an ear, which some people might need. Go to the numbers first though, I am an idiot. My parents are neo-Nazis, and my boyfriend isn't white. Like 2-ish weeks ago my parents left on business and left some more radical family members to babysit me and my brother. I don't feel safe around them, so I ran away, and I've been living with my boyfriend's family for the past 2 weeks now. My parents will get back soon, and I'll need to confront them. I want to keep my relationship with my boyfriend, and I don't want to enrage my parents to the point where I get kicked out when I'm 18. Help. I'm a 16-year-old cancer patient, myxopapillary ependymoma in my spine, who has undergone surgery and 1 session of radiation treatment, and I am about to do more starting in November, this time treating my brain. I'm not terminal, in fact, so far things are looking good, but it's really difficult to deal with. My back surgery was massive in scope, and I'm still dealing with lots of pain, despite the fact it was almost a year ago. The hardest part is that even if I become cancer-free, it is very likely that I will have cancer in the future, and unless there is some freak accident, which isn't entirely unlikely, I know how I will probably die. Between radiation and the fact that I developed cancer as a young teenager, I often feel as though my outlook isn't very positive. On a more positive note, I guess I find comfort in the fact that even as bad as my situation is, there are people who have it worse. This is funny, because as a kid, a younger kid, I am still a kid, it always frustrated me, and I never found it helpful until I looked at it from a different angle. I'm unlucky because I have cancer, but I'm lucky to have family and friends that care about and support me. I have no doubt there have been people with my exact kind of cancer who have not had the family support I do, and I feel bad for them, but it reminds me that I still have a chance that is worth fighting for. I guess people cope in weird ways. Well, this blew up. Thanks for all the support, everyone, and especially for the gold and bitcoins. I just kind of expected this to get buried, but that's not at all what happened. I got tons of responses and internet points, and it surprised me in the best kind of way. A lot of the advice I've received has resonated with me, and is stuff I've already tried to incorporate into my coping methods. I'm flattered to think I've inspired some of you when really you all are inspiring me with your caring responses. I've appreciated all the advice I've received, including the advice that's rough around the edges. Also, to everyone who's replied to my comment about their own cancer stories, I wish you the best of luck in your own battles with this terrible disease. We can get through this. Like a lot of you have said, it's all about enjoying the time we are lucky enough to get, and not getting caught up in the time we're unlucky enough to lose. We've been dealt tough hands, but we still have to play our cards. It's not over until it's over, and if you're reading this, it's not over yet. I'm an adult and your teens are dealing with some serious shit. Most of you seem depressed or overwhelmed with anxiety about school or relationships. Here's my advice. Depression is serious and it doesn't go away on its own. Seek help before it consumes the best years of your life. Get therapy, get medication. Whatever it takes. Depression dims the world around you and you simply cannot think straight. If you're sick, you wouldn't hesitate to go to the doctor if you had a broken leg. Treat your depression as the illness it is and get treatment. 20 years from now, nobody's going to give a shit about which college you went to. Unless your parents are rich, you're going to have debt when you graduate. It's a fact of life. Apply for scholarships, every single one you qualify for. Also, no loss as you must go to college immediately after high school. If you don't know what you want to do when you grow up, take a few years and find yourself. Friend issues. Relationships. Find people with similar interests. Do you like to read? Go to the library or bookstore. Join clubs. This is also a good way to find someone to have a relationship with. Introduce yourself, and if the other person shoots you down, fuck me. Their loss. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Whether I should go to college or not and what course to choose. I don't know what I want. Plus, I utterly hate school. Thanks for your thoughts and advice, guys. My college views are getting a lot better now, thanks. So, this blew up. Again, all of you guys are awesome, and I assure you I've read all you wrote, and I'll surely use them all. I don't really want to reply to all of you cause of laziness, sleepiness, but I can at least upvote. Thanks, guys. Currently a college freshman. A summer fling with a current high school junior now 5 hours away, turned into both of us falling in love and thinking we are perfect for each other. It's been 2 months since I moved in, and we've been good at communicating and staying in touch. We haven't fought at all yet, and both want to make it work. It seems like it's working out, but I'm worried we are just love-struck naive teenagers, and it will all come crashing down eventually. Some general advice for the teenage lads out there: do not obsess about becoming a macho alpha male. 99% of most real men are dribbling bicep machines. A lot of us like video games and dance. We like sad movies and fine wines. We love cooking. No interest is just for men or just for women, except, like, periods. Maybe. You can get depressed. You can be abused. You can be raped. You should not suffer in silence or alone. Absolutely none of these types of issues are female-only problems. Manning up is a bullshit term, and if you ever hear it, tell that person to fuck the fuck off. It does not make you any less of a man for being a victim of them. It needs to be said again, you should absolutely never suffer in silence. Be yourself. Conforming to popular opinion and becoming part of a group might feel like the only choice to get somewhere in life, but the moment you leave school, your pursuit of the things that truly make you happy is what will ensure you have a long and fucking brilliant life. Plus, you'll meet the people you'll actually want to journey along with for the rest of your days. The issues you're having now are so massive because you've had limited life experience. An issue for you might be 25% of your life, but for you in 10 years, it's only 5% because you've spent more time living, seen more things, done more stuff, and it will matter so much less. Whatever it is, you will get over it. You will battle through it, and you will win or learn to keep it under your control. If you need help to do that, get it. The people who you ask for help and who try to give you it will be the people you think about for the rest of your life, and that's a great thing. General advice from a 38-year-old father: 18 is a terrible time to make a life decision about what you want to do for the next 40+ years. Don't get down on yourself if you aren't sure what you want to do. It's okay to go to school without a declared major, and it's okay to chill at school for a while if you need time to think. I didn't know what I wanted to do until I was 25. If your parents are assholes, move out. I split at 18 and it was tough being broke, but I had the mental space I needed, and that proved more valuable than financial comfort. Don't waste time in relationships if the other person isn't going to waste their time with you as well. Motivation comes from a lust for life. If you are unmotivated, youth is a good time to reassess your understanding of the world and separate the facts from fiction. That Nietzsche book you've been staring at in the corner. No one is going to judge you for reading that. Experiment with ideas. That's all I got. Good luck out there. I am 20 now. At 18, I became a father, and at 19 I got married. However, this was not my biggest problem. At 18, I became a home care CNA. If you don't know what this is, look it up. I was paired with a young guy, we'll call him Pat for short. Pat was a 13-year-old boy with a very crippling disease known as NBIA. It was called neurogenesis with brain iron accumulation. He had iron growing on his brain and was losing control of his body. However, ironically, his brain was still perfectly normal. He lost the ability to talk shortly after I started working with him. He could still answer yes and no by looking in a certain direction. I worked with him every day for a year. He became much like a younger brother to me. We watched Superman every single day because he hoped one day he could be strong like Superman. We played Pokémon because we liked it, and it was easy for him to tell me how to play. About a year later, his breathing started getting very deep and random. On February 8th of this year, we had finished watching Superman, and I remember telling him how they had come up with new devices that would allow you to think and move a limb, and that I would do some research into it and share it with him on Monday what I found. I got a call on Monday morning saying that I didn't have to work today because Pat had a nurse taking care of him, but I could visit him, just not in my work clothes. I had a feeling about what was going on, but hoped that he was just getting reevaluated or something. When I arrived, I could automatically tell that the mood was solemn. Patrick was not dead but dying. He would sometimes move his eyes around and slight smile, then slip back into a glazed over look and take a deep breath and hold it. We each had a couple minutes to talk to him and say whatever we'd liked. His mom took a break from sitting with him, and it was my turn to talk with him. I held his hand and made an inside joke that he loved. I felt him squeeze my hand very slightly. Whether it was not purposeful or it was his way of letting me know he was laughing, I don't know. I told him it would be alright, and that this isn't goodbye, but I'll see you later. I gave him a big hug and noticed that he wasn't so tight from his disease. It made him tense up 24/7. His face was also blue, and he hadn't taken a breath in almost 90 seconds. He was dead, but I let the nurse know to check and make sure. I sat with the 13-year-old and held his hands in the last moments of his life. I thought cracking my phone was bad, but his death really put everything in perspective for me. I became extremely depressed, but I had to be there for my wife and daughter. I miss Pat a lot. He was Superman to me. Not really normal teenage issues, but depression, anxiety, and stuff. And the death of my boyfriend. I wasn't ready for that kind of thing to happen. I thought breakups were bad, but now breakups don't compare. A little more info. I've just started therapy with an individual therapist last week. Also, I don't have many people to talk to about the death, since it's kind of a complex situation, since it was a suicide, and other reasons. I'm also reading everyone's messages. Thank you for all the kind words, suggestions, and support. It really means a lot to me. 7 things it took me too long to learn. You can choose your own thoughts. Don't let anyone else's BS invade your mind. Choose to see yourself as worthy and competent to handle your life even if you don't feel it right now. Practice visualizing good things for yourself when dark thoughts try to rule your brain and emotions. There is always a safe way out. Always. And it doesn't involve self-harm. This world is vast and intimidating sometimes, but this also means there are infinite possibilities for you. Find them. Being a decent person pays off in life. Note: this does not mean being a doormat. This means do a good job when you work for others, be a good friend, be a team player in your household, and do your share of household upkeep, since you share the space. It's so frickin' easy to get snarky, insulting, passive-aggressive, or just plain cruel as a response to this insane life. Don't. The bridges you build through life will help you, don't let the ones you burn hurt you. Only hang around people who think you're wonderful. Sure, you can't always pick the people you work with or go to school with, but in your off hours, choose to hang around people who accept you for who you are. That may seem tough to accomplish when you feel you have no friends. If you get out there and follow your passions, your creativity, your musical interests, your sports interests, and what have you, you will find good people. Don't trust anyone completely, but build slowly on friendships, and don't demand too much of others. Don't spew out your whole life story to strangers. Take the time to listen to other people's stories, and try to be a positive presence. Loneliness feeds the crazy. It's okay to be introverted, lost in your own projects, and prefer your own company sometimes. But the healthiest brains are the brains that socialize, that interact with other brains. You may believe you live in a cesspool of narcissists who are unable to properly socialize, so get out of the house and go meet some people. Volunteer to clean up hiking trails or work at the animal shelter. Do something with yourself to get out of isolation and away from toxic people. Most people are completely focused on themselves. I used to be so self-conscious all the time. Then I realized that most people don't pay attention too much beyond their own existence. Yeah, social media makes bullies bold and spreads their poison far and wide, but people just don't really pay that much heed to what anyone else is doing. Unless you live in a really small town, in which case, you might as well shock the hell out of them. You'll find some people admire you more for being yourself than for trying to be something you're not. Be friends with those people. Shit comes and shit goes. You can have it all in 1 minute and have nothing the next, and vice versa. Be adaptable and flexible, travel as much as you can before you have kids, try to do what you love for a living, or at least find meaning in what you do. Conditions change constantly. And to paraphrase someone famous whose name I have forgotten, be kind to everyone you meet because every one of us is fighting a great battle.